Hey, everybody. It is Chef Evelyn here, and I am super excited to be joining you today to talk about how to pivot your culinary brand. So, if you're watching the replay, then I am Chef Evelyn Williams. I am a culinary brand consultant, and what that means is I help corporate professionals transition into culinary entrepreneurs. So, if you're working in corporate America as an employee and you've been thinking about starting your culinary business and you wanted to do it in a non traditional way, I help people do that. And I also help chefs, food entrepreneurs, food bloggers, culinary brands create multiple streams of income in their business. So, wanted to come on and do this live stream. And if you're watching the replay or if you're watching me live, you're going to want to make sure to share this for a couple of reasons. One, you're going to want to come back to this later and reference the notes. So make sure that you share this on your page because you're going to want to reference the things that we're covering today. And then also there may be someone in your network, your family or friends, someone who can benefit. So I'm going to give a few minutes for people to get the notification and log in to our broadcast. And in the meantime, what I want to know while we're waiting for people to come in is let me know where you are in the country or in the world. Let me know where you are and what you've been cooking now that we've been at home. So, I'm here in Dallas, Texas, and I have been making blueberry muffins. I've got some yeast starter happening right now because I'm getting ready to bake some bread. And so I'm doing some amazing things. So let me see here. Anyway, so a couple of things I want to get into today as we get started is we're going to go over a little bit about what's going on with your business. So if you want to let me know in the comments below what your business is specifically, so that as we get into the Q&A that's going to be at the end, I can take specific questions. So let me know your name, where you're from, what your business currently is. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about some things that you can be doing right now. And then some things you need to do going forward to kind of move past all that has taken place. So let me know in the comments where you are, what you do, so I can tailor that. So in the meantime, if this is your first time with me, like I was saying, I'm Chef Evelyn Williams. I am a culinary brand strategist. And the reason in particular that I wanted to do this live stream is because of my own story. So I remember changing careers from being a chemical and environmental engineer and going into the culinary field. And I remember I was working at a catering company, working for a great catering company. And I remember that the owner of that catering company was getting older and he wanted to retire. But the challenge was that if he stopped working, the revenue would stop working. And I remember him going, I want to retire, I want to go on vacation, but if I close this down, I have no other way of making revenue. And I remember that even at that time, I remember thinking, oh, I never thought about it like that. And I was like, so I need to start now to position my business and what I'm going to be doing in the culinary space in such a way that if I couldn't work or if something happened, that I still had other ways to generate revenue. And I remember him asking me, if I wanted to purchase his business. And I was thinking, well, no, because I don't want to be in the same situation that he was in. And so I spent the next probably decade of figuring out how to put different pieces of a business together so that I could still be in this wonderful industry that I love, food service, and serve people, but also have like a safety net, if you will. And you guys, let me know if you can hear and see me okay, because I don't see the comments. So let me just slide on over here to see if I can see the comments. And let me know where you're from, what you're doing, what's going on, and all of that. So, hi, Joelle from St. Louis. Yay, thanks for tuning in. Awesome. So, what I've been saying is that I want to know where people are from and what you do so that I can so that I can customize what we're going to share today. So, back to my story. And so I realized very quickly that I wanted to build a business that had the flexibility that I didn't always have to be there. And so what we're going to talk about today is if you do have a service-based food business or even a product-based food business, we're going to talk about some things that you can be doing right now while we're in this situation. And then we're also going to be talking about some things you need to do moving forward. So if this is your first time tuning in with me live, give me a 1 in the comments. And then secondly, the thing I want you to do is I want you to share this because so you can have it on your timeline, because you're going to want to come back and reference the things that we talk about, and I want you to be able to find it easily. So if you share it to your personal timeline, you'll have easy access to come back and watch the replay. And then also if you share it, there may be some colleagues or other people in your industry who could benefit from this, whether they're watching the replay or watching it live. So let's kind of get into what are some things that you need to be doing right now. There is a lot going on depending on the nature of your business, whether you do personal chefing, whether you do meal prep, whether you are a caterer, a cake decorator, you have a bakery, a restaurant, you have a meal kit delivery company. There's a lot of different ways that you could be in the food space right now. And I think that all of those ways are fantastic. I think that they're needed. And one of the things I really talk to my clients about is always staying ahead. So we're going to talk about here are 3 things that you can do right now. So if you don't have a pen or a piece of paper, now is the time to grab it. I'm actually going to give you a second. I'm going to take a sip of water because you're going to want to take notes on this. We're going to talk about some things to do now and then some things to do moving forward as we transition through what is happening right now and then for afterwards. So grab your pen and paper. Hey, Chef Adana, how are you? Okay, so give me a 1 when you're ready. Because I am ready to go in, right? So give me a 1 in the comments if you're like, Chef Evelyn, I'm ready. I've got my notes. We are going to talk about this. Okay, so let me know because I want to make sure that you have what you need as we go through. And like I said, if you haven't told me where you're from and what you do, so I can customize the things that we're talking about today to your specific business needs. Thank you very much. But do that. So, okay. Is anybody ready? Anybody ready? Give me a 1. Rosalind is ready. Awesome. Thank you, Rosalind. Is anybody else ready? I just want to make sure that you've got your pen and your paper, that you are focused, that the distractions are minimized as much as they can be. And let's get into it. Rosalind, tell me what you do. Specifically in the culinary space, and that way I can tailor some of this content to you. Chef Adana, I think I know what you do. Joelle, I absolutely know what you do. So let me know so I can tailor that. So right now, if your business is one that has had to pause or slow down or anything like that, let's get into the 3 things that you need to be doing right now. That's going to benefit your business. So the first thing that you need to be doing is you need to stay in contact with your current and past clientele. Now, this is not about staying in contact with them from a fear-based perspective or a panicky perspective. It's more so from a customer care perspective. You just want to check in. You want to see how they're doing. You want to see if there's anything within your limited capacity that you could do or they could benefit from. You may be surprised at, maybe some requests that they have coming for you, but you want to stay in contact with them. Not overkill, but a touch here and there. Hopefully you have your systems already set up that you have a means to do that, right? So I was talking with one of my clients today about how she can send out some customer care from a place of genuine concern, but also a place of connecting with her previous clients, current customers, and things like that. So number 1 is you really want to find a way that's a very uplifting, positive, and helpful way to have a high level of customer care at this time, right? That they don't need to know that you're scrubbing down your kitchens. They don't need to know that you're doing all that. We're in food, from a food safety standpoint, we do that anyway. So that's not new protocol for us. A lot of people know that you're not in the kitchen cooking right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't be of service to them, right? Even if it's just a, hey, I just want to check on you, see how you're doing. Okay, so that's one. So the first thing is, make sure your customer care is at a premium. And the reason why this is important is because they know right now that you can't benefit from customer care. Like, it's not a sale per se. And so that really makes you stand out from your competition. Okay, so the first thing is make sure that you're executing your customer care plan. If you don't have a customer care plan, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the stream. Okay, and I want you guys to know that I will be answering questions at the end. So I definitely want you to put your questions in the chat, and so that I can come back at the end and we can do a live Q&A. Sound good? Okay, great. So the second thing that you want to do right now is you want to tighten up on any business systems that you've been meaning to do. So if you know that you have gaps in your marketing, if you know that you needed to get some accounting stuff under control, if you know that you need to standardize some recipes, if you know you needed to do some costing, some rebranding, if you know you needed to set up some workflows or some systems, this is the perfect time to get all of that done, because when we come out of this, you could potentially, if you do this right, have an influx. And so you want to make sure that anything that was like halfway not together, kind of sort of you've been working on it, but you really haven't been putting a lot of effort behind it, you want to make sure that those systems and processes are extremely tight and together. Okay. Thirdly, well, and let me say this, and the reason why you want to do that is it needs to be done anyway, and so you can almost view this time as a blessing in disguise of, things that when I'm in the moment of doing, that this may not, that may not be the best time. But now that things are a little bit slower and you have some breathing room, it's time to tackle those things that always get pushed to the bottom of the to-do list in your business and make those a priority. Okay. And let me know, I know I'm a fast talker, so let me know in the comments, like, is this helpful so far? Oh, here we go. Ready. Culinary arts teacher and bakery pastry arts known as the dough bar. Oh, okay, great. And so the dough bar, are you in Dallas, Texas, Roslyn? The dough bar. Okay. I want to make sure that I know that. Okay, so great. I want to make sure that I see the comments. And I know, like, if you want me to slow down, because I know I'm a fast talker, then let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure to try to keep an eye on that. Okay. Now, the third thing that you want to do is you want to prepare for a reopening. Okay, and so if you've had to pause or slow down, you want to make sure that you don't have like a silent reopening. Okay, you want to make sure that you are planning it almost like a launch, to make sure that when the gates are open and we're all allowed to gallivant the way that we would like to, that you are top of mind. So you want to make sure that you're preparing and have your business even more established and even more ready to handle the influx that's going to come in when these different restrictions that have been put on us are lifted, right? So you want to think about what are some creative ways that you can leverage the fact that people are going to want to oh, hey Evelyn, what are some creative ways for your particular business or brand that says, okay, people are going to want to be out, they're going to want to be socializing, and start thinking ahead for the future. What are some creative ways to position your product or service so that it really that people are going to want to be out and about? Because think about this, by the time different restrictions in different areas are lifted, we will be probably into full-blown spring/summer, which is already a great time of socializing. And think about, how can I position my current products and services in a way that that I haven't before, okay, that will draw in not only my return clients and people who are already familiar with my business, but will also draw in new potential clients and how can we serve them well, okay? So for the first part, before we get into the things you need to do moving forward, I want to just recap the things that you should be doing right now. So the first thing is you want to be connecting with your customers and clients. You want your customer care level to be on a high level, even if you can't offer them your current product or service because of the different situations that we find ourselves in. You want to make sure that your customer care is at a premium. And if you do not have a customer care plan, now's the time to be working on one. Okay. Or if you need some support with that, we'll talk about what that can look like later. All right. Secondly, is that you want to tighten up on any kind of business administrative systems in your business that have been pushed to the bottom of the to-do list, things that you know will you just make you 1% better, that you haven't had time for because you've been in the day-to-day operation. So this is the time to get your visionary hat on, to get your CEO hat on, and take a look at like what's coming and utilize this time to work on that, to get those things in place. And then the third thing we talked about as far as what you can do right now is that you also want to prepare for your reopening, so to speak, if you've had to pause, and treat it as such, and think about what are some ways that I was currently doing, or maybe some things that you weren't doing consistently that you need to prepare for. How do you need to prepare if you have employees? How do you need to prepare your marketing? How do you need to prepare your business for an influx of new customers, a busy season, all of that kind of stuff, right? And you guys, if you're tuning in just now, I want to say welcome. And I want to encourage you to share this to your personal timeline so that you can come back and reference this, in case you lose connection or you need to drop off. I want you to make sure that you can find this replay quickly, and then also share it because there may be people in your network that could benefit. So if you want to share it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, please share it out so that people who could benefit from this right now can see that, those that I may not be able to reach. Okay? And I want to pause to see if there are any questions so far before we get into what you need to do to prepare for the future, because that's probably where we're going to spend the bulk of our time, is talking about what you need to do to prepare for the future. So we've talked about some things that you can be doing right now. Let me know, are those beneficial? Are those helpful? What are some things you're currently doing? Or are you just trying to wait till the dust settles? Let me know. Let's take a quick pause for questions. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. I know there's a bit of a delay. And then we're going to get into what do you need to be doing moving forward to prepare your business for the future so that you don't find yourself in a similar situation. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the chat. If you have recently joined and you would like to tell me where you are and what you do in your business so that I can tailor the content to that, then and I would love that. So I'm going to take a sip of water. Are questions? Okay, so if there are no questions, we are going to move right back into what you need to do going forward. So if you tuned in a little bit later, definitely reaffirming affirming what I'm working on right now. Okay, great. So now we're going to talk about what you need to do moving forward in your business so that you do not have to be in the same situation again. So how many of you guys, this is your first time like tuning into my content? I know I have some previous clients on here. I know I have some current clients on here. But is this your first time either being live with me or seeing one of my videos? For those of you who don't know, I have a whole playlist full of videos on my YouTube channel about developing your chef business, your culinary brand. So even outside of this video, you can always go and watch that. Okay. So let's talk about moving forward. If you missed the beginning of this, I was telling the story about the reason why I wanted to develop a unconventional culinary brand is because I went to work for a catering company, fresh out of culinary school, and I remember that the owner wanted to retire, and he was nervous because he said if I shut this business down, my revenue gets shut down, and his only way out, so to speak, was to sell the business, and he wanted to sell it to me. And I thought, well, if you're stuck, then I'll be stuck. And I knew right then and there that as much as I loved being in the hospitality industry, as much as I loved being in food, that it's a very service-based industry, and that I was going to have to figure out a way to create a business that could earn money without me in it all of the time, that wasn't dependent upon certain other things. So I'm going to what does a soft relaunch look like? So, okay, that's a great question, Joelle. So a soft relaunch is kind of like, imagine if you were opening up your business for the first time, what would you be doing? You would be reaching out to maybe media. You will be reaching out to potential clients and letting them know, hey, there's a new chef in town kind of thing. You would probably be building up on social media. You would be doing a lot of different things to sort of build the buzz. And so right now, whenever we get close to, and we don't know when that's going to be, when these restrictions will be lifted off, you want to make sure that you're top of mind, right? So if you do have an email list, if you do have media contacts, if you do have a little bit of a social media following, if you do have friends and family that can share and support, you definitely want to be building for that and get all the pieces of that ready to go, right? So that's what a soft relaunch could look like. It's the same thing like if you were launching a new product or service. Okay. So, to my story, I knew that I needed to create a business. And I wanted a business where I could work from home. I wanted a business where, I didn't always have to be in the kitchen as much as I love food. And that's kind of one of the things that I teach my clients right now. So here's what you need to be working on going forward. Do you have your pens and pencils ready? Because here's what you need to be working on going forward. And here's the thing. Whether you are a chef and I think we have a few people tuning in from other industries, if you are in a service-based business, meaning that you physically have to be present to deliver your product or service, then what I'm about to share with you, or this whole broadcast, will be beneficial to you. So you can share it, and it is beneficial to anybody that's in a service-based industry. It's just that the examples that I'm going to be using are going to be for culinary entrepreneurs. Okay. So first and foremost, here we go. Are you ready? Give me a 1 in the comments if you are ready, because I'm about to spill the tea about what you need to do going forward, and then we're going to walk through those. Okay. Give me a 1 in the comments when you're ready, and we're going to walk through those. I think it's a little bit of a delay. So, and if you see me keep looking down to the right, I've got my lines here because I don't want to forget anything. And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking for your comment. So, I'm assuming you're ready. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. So, here's the biggest thing that you need to do to plan for the future so that A, you don't find yourself in a similar situation, and B, you can actually grow your business. So this is not even just about recovering or recuperating. It's also about growing and expanding, right? So one of the things that I teach my clients in my Chef's Tables Academy, and I think one of my clients is on here right now, is one of the things that we really, really focus on, and this is kind of where we're going to spend the bulk of the rest of our time together, and then we're also going to do some Q&A, is that you have to have multiple streams of income. When I was growing up, my mother was always very adamant about you need to have more than one stream of income. And it's that old adage of not putting all your eggs in one basket. The challenge in the hospitality industry is that our one basket, our one stream is service based, and it can be depending on how you build it, very time consuming, very labor intensive, and sometimes it can be a challenge to build multiple streams of income. Or sometimes what I've seen, what I've done in the past, what I see other people do is they do have multiple streams of income, but they're all still highly active and service based. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about not only how you need to build multiple streams of income, but the types of income streams you need to build going forward. Because the reality is that if you had multiple streams of income right now in your business going, if you had that already, then you would just be pausing on one income stream and you would be focusing on the others, right? And so it's super, super, super important. And it's not something that's talked about a lot in the hospitality industry. It's kind of like if you cater, you cater. Or if you cater, you do catering, you do dinner parties. Or if you have a restaurant, you do restaurant and catering and events, right? And all of those are extremely service-based. So this is not about throwing those away. This is not about scrapping that. It's about successful addition. How do I incorporate additional streams of revenue into the business that's already existing so that A, all my eggs aren't in one basket, and B, that in the event that I can't work, we can't work, the world can't work, how can I take this same business idea that I have and manifest it different ways? Okay, so this is about moving forward. If you're just tuning in and you miss what we talked about, what you need to be doing right now, you'll be able to watch the replay. Okay, so the first thing is you need to have multiple streams of income. And I use an acronym in my business about the different revenue streams that I think every service-based business should have. And that is SPACE, right? If you've taken my course, Chef Space, How to Create Multiple Streams of business, Income in Your Business in 5 weeks, then you're well versed in this. But to give you a synopsis, SPACE stands for services, products, advertisements, curriculum, and events. Okay, and so I'll say that again. It stands for services, products, advertisements, and affiliates, curriculum, and events. Okay, has everyone caught that? I want to make sure that I got all the comments here. So here's the thing. If you think about your business right now, and we're going to kind of walk through each one of these and give you a brief synopsis. If you are a service-based entrepreneur, if you are a culinary business owner, more than likely you're either in the service category or the product category. More than likely, if you're a solopreneur, you're in the service category, meaning you are offering a physical active service. I own a restaurant. I own a catering company. I do meal prep. I sell cakes. I sell cookies. I do wedding cakes. I cook for a family. I make gourmet baby food, whatever the case may be. It's something where you physically have to be there. And that makes sense because that's the general nature of our industry. Or you may be someone who has products. Maybe you have a spice line. Maybe you have a sauces line. Maybe you have some kind of product that you offer, and maybe you don't really have a service. But in general, that is where we find ourselves. And then usually what happens with culinary entrepreneurs or service-based entrepreneurs is then we transition into events. We jump all the way over and we go to events. So maybe you're having open houses or pop-up dinners or social gatherings or things like that. But again, the two N's, the S and the E, are very, very active and require you to physically be there. So first things first, moving forward, is you really want to think about how can I take what I'm currently doing and offer it in a different medium. Okay, how can I create a different revenue stream with the same mission and purpose as my current business? And and what I call that is, what is your culinary point of view? So how do you take your culinary point of view, or if you are watching and you're not in culinary, how do you take your creative point of view, whatever service it is that you offer, and how can you manifest that and offer that in a different experience through a different medium? So that's the first thing. So now that you know that you need to create multiple streams of income, right? And you know that you probably either have a service-based business with occasional events or a products-based business with occasional services or occasional events. How do you feel in the rest of that model? And so I'm going to tell you the two types of income that you need to keep you out of situations like this going forward. The first one is you need a form of passive income. And I know this sounds very cliche. Passive income isn't fully passive, but it is something that you can create or make once and sell over and over and over and over again. So think about the business that you're in. Think about what it is that you really give people beyond your product or services. What is the real thing that they're getting? And think about, is there a way that I could create something one time and sell it over and over and over again, right? That is going to be worth it to me. Okay. You need, or a product, a service, something that can be offered that you can do over and over and over and over and over again after you made it one time, right? Probably the most simplest form of this is a book. Now, if you've been following me for some time, you know I don't believe in like coming out the gate with a cookbook unless you have an established business, because the profit margins on that is really, really low. Okay, but you can have, there's so many other ways to have a passive income in your business, so that without a lot of effort from you or a lot of effort from your business, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 passive revenue streams, okay, that you can do, that you can have, that all you would need to do is turn up the marketing on, and you wouldn't physically have to be involved in delivering or executing that product or service. Okay, does that make sense? Is that you want to have some kind of passive, and I really like to call it pactive, because there is some active activity involved, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in the kitchen, or you have to be in the restaurant, or you have to be at your client's home, or you have to be in an event. It can be something that can be done without a lot of physical work from you, right? So you need passive income. The next thing, so we know we need to create multiple streams of income. We know we need something passive that doesn't require us to physically be there. And then the next thing you need is you need a form of recurring revenue. And I think this is the big one, that you need a revenue stream in your business that is recurring, right? So, and you need a way to flex it. So some of you, you may think about, well, what about meal kit delivery services? They have a recurring revenue, right? But they only have one revenue stream. And so now if they can't do that, then they don't have a service, they don't have a product, they don't have advertising, they don't have events, they don't have anything outside of that, right? And the reason why this is important is because the situation that we find ourselves in, while it's very new to all of us, is just a more elaborate version of what happens when like social media goes out, and people who only have businesses that are based off of social media, they're panicked because they're like, I don't own Facebook, I don't own Instagram, I don't own YouTube, I don't own whatever the latest thing is, and they've built their business solely on that platform, right? And so now it's the opposite of those of us who have built our businesses where I absolutely have to be there touching face to face. And now that I don't have that option, whether it's because of what's going on in the world right now, or if you get sick or need to retire or whatever the case may be, it's again having all those eggs in one basket. Okay, so you need something passive in your business, and then you need something recurring. And depending on the business that you're in, recurring can look a lot of different ways. It's not a one size fits all, right? No business strategy is a one size fits all. It's very different for what you currently offer, what you currently have, the services and products that you already have, and how that fits into that equation. And then the last thing about creating multiple streams of income is that you need something where you own it fully. Let me explain what I mean. If we think about other industries and people, let's say you're a food blogger, okay, to keep it on theme. If you're a food blogger and you make all of your revenue through advertisements from companies or sponsored posts, right, which can be extremely lucrative, if that's what you do, and then let's say right now they're stopping advertising, all your eggs were in one basket, and you don't own that, you can't control that, they cut it off, it's done. Right? There are people in different industries right now that they work with brands and different things, and their campaigns are off right now. So because that was their only source of revenue, it's gone, or their only source of revenue was being a speaker, or their only source of revenue was hosting pop-up dinners, or their only source of revenue was having a restaurant, or their only source of revenue um, was one of these things, and they don't have diversity in the way that they generate income. And so when one of those lanes is challenged, okay, is your screen frozen? When one of those ways is challenged, then they find themselves between a rock and a hard place. Okay. Let me know. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? I'm just now seeing that it says, "Is anyone else getting a frozen screen?" Let me know if you guys can see and hear me okay in the comments. Let me know. Give me a heart or a thumbs up or something to let me know that you still can see and hear me okay. Can you still see and hear me okay? I want to make sure that you can. No? Yes. Okay, yes. Okay. Shelly says yes. Thank you, Shelly. I'm getting a little bit of delay on the comments. Okay, I see the hearts. Okay, great. And so far, is this helpful, you guys? Is this helpful so far about, the creating the multiple streams of income? Let me know. Is this helpful? Okay, you can hear me, Chef Adon. Okay, great. Um, so what we were saying, we were talking about multiple streams of income. We were talking about the fact that you need something in your business that's passive, you need something in your business that's recurring, and then you need a form of revenue in your business that you own, meaning that is not dependent upon someone else. Something that you go, this is fully mine. I have full control over this, that I can do. So if the internet goes down one day and people can't be on the internet for weeks, there's something in my business and I know how to market my products and services offline. Okay, I know that if something offline happens and I can't leave the house or I can't work physically, I can do something, whether it's online, or I have ways that I have the marketing structures set up and available. I have the business structure set up and available. Always helpful. Great. I have the business structures set up and available, that I have all of these things ready to go, right? So I want to save our last time for some Q&A, because I'm pretty sure depending on your business right now, you may have a lot of questions. So start gathering your questions, start typing them in the comments, and I'm going to do a quick recap of, we talked about the things that you need to be doing currently in your business while all of this is going on, and then the things that you need to be doing moving forward to not only recuperate and recover, but also what you need to be working on so that you can excel and expand beyond, and that you don't find yourself in the same situation. Chef Adana says, I never thought about marketing offline other than just word of mouth. No. So here's the thing. So not having an online marketing plan and an offline marketing plan puts you at the same risk of only having one product or service, right? So it's kind of like, if you think about your assets, right, in your life, that you don't want to have all your money in one place, and you don't want to have all your money in just one type of investment, right? That's never a smart idea, because if something were to happen to that one thing, then that puts you at a certain level of risk and vulnerability. It's no different in your business. You as a chef, there are ways that you can take your same skill set. It's not even about offering a new skill set, right? If you make, I think the dough bar, the dough bar, let's just say they make pastries, right? That's fantastic. She could take that same skill set of offering pastries and market it online and market it offline, and she could take that same set of pastries and spread it out across that SPACE model that we talked about, right? Because it's just different manifestations of the same skill set. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. So we talked about what you need to be doing right now in your business. Is you need to be implementing your customer care plan. If you do not have a customer care plan, then you need to get one in place, right? And that's one of the things I help my clients with. I was walking with one of my clients today through what her customer care plan is going to look like right now, given that she's not able to service her clients in a traditional way. Okay, so you want to be connecting with your previous and current clientele. Secondly, what you want to be doing is you want to be tightening up on any business systems, administrative systems, marketing systems, any kind of systems in your business that you've been putting off and putting off and putting off that have been at the bottom of the to-do list. You want to get those things tight and get that foundation tight, because when it's go time, you do not want to be still fiddling with those things, okay? And then the third thing we talked about as far as what you need to be doing right now is that you also want to prepare for like a relaunch. You want to treat when things are back to where they used to be is, how do I stay top of mind? How do I get ahead and not be behind when life goes back to a new normal is what I'm going to say, because it's going to be a new normal, right? So you want to think about that. Then we talked about, start writing your questions in the comments. Then we talked about what do you need to be doing moving forward, and the overarching theme of that was you need to have multiple streams of income. That it is, as you have probably experienced, it is dangerous to have all your eggs in one basket. Even if you're offering multiple services, if they're all in the same category, then that's still one. If you're doing catering, meal prep, dinner parties, personal chefing, that's all in this service category. And so while it may feel like multiple streams of income, revenue, and in a way it sort of is, that in the event that your physical health or your physical ability to be somewhere, whether it's via quarantine or some other means is threatened, then your business is shut down, right? Conversely, if your business is something that is exclusively online, and then one day, I remember last year, Facebook and Instagram kept going out and people were panicking because they were like, all my marketing's on Facebook and Instagram. I was like, if your business is strictly online, then that also puts you at risk. You need to diversify, right? And we use the example of like your assets, right? We talked about you need to have an income stream that is passive, or pactive is what I like to call it. That's something that's earning you money while you're off doing something else, okay? What can you have in your business that is earning you money that you don't have to create time and time again, that can earn you money while you're off doing the more active things? So this is not about eliminating the services in your business. This is about success addition. How do I incorporate something that's complementary, that's on the same vein, that has the same culinary point of view with what I'm currently doing, so that I'm diversifying, and I'm also drawing in a different clientele who wants to experience your skills or your product or services in a different way, okay? And then we also talked about you need a source of recurring revenue in your business, that you need something that's ongoing. I'm in a community, and one of the people in the community, I think, has a wreath business. And so one of the things in his wreath business is that he does like a build a wreath box subscription. Yes, you can buy wreath materials, and yes, you can buy pre-made wreaths, and yes, you can even get a custom wreath. But he also has for people like, okay, so if you want to make your own wreath every month, and it's a subscription model. Okay. So Rosalind says, can you talk about some other types of offline marketing we can do that is equally as cost effective as digital? Networking is a huge one. Here's the thing. To say equally cost effective as digital is challenging, because digital, for the most part, can be free, right? Unless you're doing paid advertisement. Okay. But there's a reason why in companies that marketing has more of a budget than operations, because if you are not marketing consistently where your ideal client is at, yes, online and offline, that puts you at a risk. Like, so here's an example of why marketing is definitely an investment that gets you an ROI in your business. You need to view it that way and need to create financial margin in your business to be able to do offline marketing. So who remembers Vine or MySpace? Right? Who remembers those social platforms? Okay. And there were people on there who were rock stars. Okay. Or even maybe Snapchat. There were people on these platforms, these social marketing platforms, that were rock stars. And then the current of the way we did social changed, and those places either closed or are a ghost town. Right? And so they put all of their efforts in in an online marketing tool, which is, listen, online marketing is extremely effective. We're online right now. It's extremely effective, but they did not know how to pivot and do something outside of that. So I'm kind of going backwards with your question, Rosalind, which is, as cost effective as digital. It's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you either time, energy, or it's going to cost you money. Now, the thing about other types of marketing offline is really dependent upon the type of business that you have, right? So what a brick and mortar business might do is different than what a personal chef might do. What a catering company might do is different than someone who does meal planning or meal prep. And so this is the challenge when it comes to marketing, and this is why I work with my clients very specifically on this, because it's not a one size fits all. Here's a perfect example. So I had a client last year who wanted she wanted to do something very specific in her business, and she asked me about a chef who was traveling around the country doing dinner parties. And she was like, should I do what they're doing? And I said, well, their strategy was to eventually open up a destination restaurant. Is that what you want to do? And she was like, no. I said, so then that marketing strategy, while it is effective for what they are doing, may not be effective for what you want to do. I'll give you another example. I know a chef here locally who has a great business, and that chef decided to go and do the state fair for a couple of years in a row. And the state fair can be extremely lucrative, okay? You can build up a lot of cash reserve for that. But that chef then went and opened up a really, really nice restaurant. Again, great strategy for where they were going, okay, but not necessarily universal. So when it comes to marketing strategies, like, I can give you 101 ideas, but they may not be the most effective for your business. So that's something that's a little bit more customized. So I could tell you to go network. I could tell you to go speak. I could tell you to go to events. I can tell you to host an open house. I can tell you to put things in a flyer. I can tell you to sponsor this. I can tell you to, participate in food fairs. There's so many offline things you could do. The confusing part is if you don't know where you want to go with it, then that's the challenge. Let me break it down. And I know I'm kind of going a little more long-winded, but it's because I'm really passionate. You want to think about this. In business, you need a GPS or a PSG, right? So think about a GPS. When you are using a GPS, the first thing you do is you have to decide what's the end destination, okay? And you have to input that into your GPS. Make sense? What's the end destination? Then the GPS says, how do you want to get there? Do you want the fastest route? Do you want the shortest route? Do you want to go on the highway? Do you want side streets? Do you want to pay tolls? Do you not want to pay tolls? Right? What they're offering you is your strategy. How do you want to get there? There's 5 different ways to get to this destination. How do you want to get there? Okay, so that's the S. So the G is the goal. The S is the strategy. The P is the plan, like where you want to go. The S is the strategy. The G is the guide. So a GPS, the reason why GPS works is because there is someone has been ahead of you in that direction, and they can tell you how to get there, and they can reroute you if you make a wrong turn. They can tell you where there's traffic, things like that. The challenge when it comes to marketing, it's not one size fits all. So that's what I do with my clients. I'm the strategist. We talk about where they want to go. That's the P. What's the plan? Where are you trying to go? How much money are you trying to make? Who is your ideal client? What are you selling? What is the best way to sell it? How do you create the different streams of income, right, around that one skill set? Then is, how do you want to get there? How do you want to work? How do you want to live? How much do you want to cost? Do you want employees? Do you not want employees? How much percentage of money do you want to make online, offline? We walk through all of that. And then my job as their strategist is to go specific to their business, their industry, their services, their products, their target market. What is the best path? Are we on the highway? Are we off the highway? Are we taking tolls? Are we not? Are we going short or fast? So I know, Rosalind, I know that I know that it all yes, it all goes back to your long term goals. It's not a fast process, and so I think the thing that's very challenging is that people try to make it one size fits all, and it's not, which is why I work with my clients on developing their specific strategy. And I don't know if Joelle is still here. She's one of my current clients, but she'll tell you that when we're on the call with other people that I work with, the things I'm telling her and them are completely different things because they're two different businesses, right? So you said, so basically it all ties back to our long-term goals. Yes. So you can look at, like, do I want to sponsor an event? Do I want to go to networking events? Do I want to go to chambers? Do I want to do mailers? Do I want to do the state fair? Do I want to pitch? Do I want to be on the news? Do I want to... Those are all offline things, but it really depends upon your business. But it's a great question. I know I kind of went into that. So here's the thing. I want to take some more questions. We've got about 6 more minutes. I know that some of you guys need some customized help. And so I'm opening up my calendar next week for some strategy sessions. So if you're like, hey, listen, I need to know specifically where I need to be going in my business. Maybe you either have already started your business and you need to know where you need to fill in the gaps. Maybe you are thinking about starting and you're like, I want to start this thing off on the right foot. Okay. Or you need to know how to pivot, right? And you need some strategy. I'm opening up my calendar next week. I've cleared all my other obligations off except for serving my clients. And I want to get you on the calendar. Yes, we worked on strategy first. Absolutely. And it makes a difference because otherwise you just get in the car and you're driving and you don't know where you're going. Or maybe I should turn, if I turn right here, will that get me there? If I turn left here, if I take this opportunity, if I take that opportunity, somebody asked me to do this. Is this a good idea? If you don't have a strategy in place, then you're kind of just shooting at the dark. Even with the way you approach your social media, that if you haven't figured out what your specific social media strategy is, then you're probably just either copying somebody else's or you're just trying stuff and hoping that it works, right? And there's nothing specifically strategic there. So if you need specific guidance, if you need the guide to say, okay, we know where you're trying to go, or maybe you need to establish where you're trying to go because you need to create those multiple income streams. You need to create a customer care plan, right? You need to tighten up on your business systems, and okay, what would a passive income stream look like for me? What would a recurring income stream look like for me in my business? If you need some of that, I'm happy to help with that. Chef Adonna said, gotta get focused. Absolutely. And so Joelle said, goals with no strategy equals spinning your wheels, just going round and round. Absolutely. So I'm going to put a link in the comments for if you want to schedule a strategy session. And it's very similar to like if you're going to a doctor or if you were going to a mechanic and you were going to get a diagnostic, right? They're going to charge you a fee for the diagnostic and go, hey, here, you tell them about what's going on, what you hear, the symptoms, things like that. And they're going to use their expert knowledge to go through, ask you questions, to do a diagnostic on your vehicle or on your body like a doctor would. And then they're going to make some recommendations. And that's what I do in these strategy calls. I'm just pulling up the link here for the application so that if you're like, I need some specific help because it's not one size fits all, then let me pull that up and then we'll get into these last questions here. So let's see here. I'm going to put the link there. Now, you should be able to see that. Okay. And so the way this works is you fill out the application. It's just going to ask you some questions about your business and where you are right now. And then once you fill out the application, you will be prompted to schedule a call. So you'll book your appointment and we'll get you on the calendar next week as soon as possible so that we can kind of walk through specifically what you have going on in your business and what you need to do moving forward. And I will make some recommendations to you based on what I think you need. and where the holes are so you can create a plan. So it's basically like a prescription. And so what a doctor does or mechanic does is they'll say, you know what, you may need your brakes replaced, you need, you know, an oil change, you may need an engine overhaul. A doctor may say you need this prescription, or you need to go see a specialist, or you need, you know, physical therapy, or whatever the case may be. So let's take a couple of more questions, but you can fill out that application there. And I really don't want people to be in this situation again. You know, I think one of the things that's kind of disheartening to me with everything that's going on is, for years I've been talking about creating multiple streams of income in your culinary business, not putting all your eggs in one basket, having online and offline marketing strategies, having more than just a physical service to your business. And you know, I've been trying to pump out the videos and the content, and trying to prepare people for such a time as this. And I've watched people be like, not right now, I'm not ready, maybe later, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And the thing that saddens me is I see those same people scrambling right now, or in a really uncomfortable place. And it's like, you know, had you been preemptive, had you gotten ahead of this when it wasn't a crisis, when it wasn't an emergency, when it wasn't staring you down in the face, you wouldn't be here right now. And obviously some people obviously haven't interacted with me, which is why I encourage you guys to share this, share my videos. I have a whole playlist on YouTube, but I encourage you to schedule your appointment. Like, this is not something you want to put off, right? So you now know that there's a gap in your business that you didn't know, that it's like, oh, I realized all my eggs are in one basket, and that basket just got stepped on and closed temporarily. And what am I supposed to do? You know, I'm in this service-based industry, but there is a way to take your same skill set, your same knowledge, your same gifting, and offer that in a different way by creating multiple streams of income. Is it not clickable? Chef Adana, is it not clickable for you? I can post it again. If not, just copy and paste it. If it's not clickable, you can copy and paste it, put it into your browser, like that. You can copy and paste it and put it into your browser. So fill out the application, and then also you're going to schedule your call. There is an investment with the strategy call, just like there is when you go take your car for a diagnostic, or if you go to the doctor. But I would take maybe service-based industry is it's not for me. It's getting slammed for me. So, and that's the thing, right? So I've been able to transition to my business where I don't even offer a lot of services anymore. That's my personal preference, though. I think that you can have a service arm to your business and have these other things, right? I just got a call before this live stream with a good friend who's in a service-based industry, in a completely different industry. And we had talked years ago about her doing some things online or offering different expressions of the service that she's offered. And because she had already established those things and she was already ahead of the curve, it was an easy pivot to focus on a different expression of the same business that she was doing. And she's watching people in her industry, it's not even related to food, but it's the same thing as a service-based business. She's watching people in her industry struggle because either they were like, oh yeah, or they turned their nose up at it, or they were like, maybe one day, but not right now, I'm good over here. And so they didn't have a contingency plan, and they just weren't making money from that revenue stream. And so here she is, she had to close her in-person experience because of what's going on right now. And she's still in business, still going. It's like turning one light off in one room and yes, you had the lamp on in the other room, but now you just turn the full light on in the other room and you turn this light off, and then when everything's open, you have both lights on. That she's been to pivot. Chef Adana says, but I know how to find you and you will be following up. Yes, you were supposed to follow up some time ago. Are there any other questions? We'll take questions, comments. If you have not shared this so that you can go back through this and get, new ideas, or if you want the information, then you can do that. If you're watching the replay, the link to apply is in the description box of this video and in the comments. And I want to take any questions, comments that you guys have before we wrap up. We'll give it another 2-3 minutes. Whether you are a culinary business or not, if you're here and you have any questions, this can be applicable to any service-based business. And so make sure you guys are sharing this with people that you know need it. So your chef friends, your restaurant friends, the people who do cakes in the neighborhood, the people who make candy or whatever they're doing. Oh, you had surgery on your hand twice back to back. Oh, I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're doing all right. I know we had talked about that some time ago. So I hope you're feeling better. But yes, definitely for for someone like you, it's like, hey, I may not need to be in the kitchen all the time because I've got to let my hands recover, right? So, what other questions do you guys have? I'm gonna take another sip of water. Questions, comments. Was this helpful? Was this beneficial? We definitely did the recap about what you need to be working on now and then what you need to be working on going forward. And so I just want to make sure that it was beneficial to you and that you learned something, that you took something away that you can use immediately. And also want to make myself available to you for those of you who are like, I'm ready to get ahead. I don't want to be in this situation again. Like, none of us could have saw this coming up. Nobody that's alive right now has lived through something like this, right? And so we couldn't have prepared for it, but it's always just good practice to not have all your eggs in one basket, to not only have one income stream, to not only be marketing exclusively offline or exclusively online. Adana says, very helpful, always learn something new. Awesome. So with that being said, if there are no more questions or comments, I want to thank you so much for your time. You can always keep up with me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Chef Evelyn. If you are ready to move forward and figure out where the holes in your business are and what you need to be doing different, you can go to bit.ly/chef apply, and that will take you to the application. And I'm on Chef Evelyn on all platforms. I also have a playlist of videos that you can binge watch on YouTube. I think I have like 25 or 30 videos you can binge watch on YouTube to help you in your business, from pricing to finding clients to all of that kind of stuff. Monique says, thank you. Crazy times we're living in. Right. Like, none of us could have dreamt this up. Like, I was like, and here's the crazy thing about it, and I'll say this as we're wrapping up in case there's any last comments or questions, is that my business hasn't changed. Besides not really going out as much, it's life as usual around here. I'm still working with my clients. I'm still working from home. I'm still cooking. Life hasn't changed that much, and I know that's not the case for a lot of people, and so I'm very grateful for that. But at the same time, awesome and relevant information. Thank you for sharing. Yes, thank you, Joelle. But at the same time, I also have always been about staying ready so I don't have to get ready. And so what you're going to see right now is, in a lot of industries, and maybe you may be even experiencing this yourself, is a lot of people are scrambling to try to pivot right now. They're scrambling to try to make sure that when they get back on the scene that they aren't vulnerable. It's kind of like they didn't even know that they had this vulnerability in their business, which I saw it 10 years ago in our industry. I saw it 10 years ago and said, that's not going to work, that there's going to come a time where I'm either not going to want to or not going to be able to be there physically. And how do I do that? Shelly says, biz, same for me too. Absolutely. Great info and reminders. Absolutely. Thank you for being here so much, Shelly. And please share this with other people, because sometimes if you're telling somebody something, it's like a broken record, but then when they hear it from a different perspective, or someone who does this full time, then they're like, oh, maybe I should pay attention. And let me see, I think I could also get my playlist for you guys, with all of the videos in here so that you can watch those videos. So let's see here. Let me see. YouTube. Here we go. I'm going to put the link in here for all of my YouTube videos. I'm going to put that there. And if you subscribe there, I drop a video every Wednesday. So we just had one go live 2 days ago. And I forgot to mention, for those of you who do book your strategy call within the next week, I have a new mini course called From Corporate to Culinary, how to go from corporate employee to culinary entrepreneur, that I will be bonusing on the calls. So if you book your call between now and this time, or if you have your call between now and this time next week, I'm going to bonus that mini course to you. So with that being said, we're just at about an hour, and so I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you for sharing. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for taking the time to invest in your business by spending your time and learning, or at least being reminded of something. Again, make sure to share this so that you can have it on your timeline for reference, and then also in case someone else could benefit from it, or someone that knows someone, right? So if anything should be going viral, it should be things that are helping people and not an actual virus. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.